and you'll just have this random supermassive black hole cruising through space, which to me seems like you'd have to be out to launch to believe. I know, what a transition for you, Chris. Anyway, we're going to move along. Chris Butler here is going to talk about some launch news here. I know there wasn't a whole lot, but there was a pretty interesting event.
Yeah, now it's a little bit quiet right now. The later in the year, fans of launches, you keep your eyes to All Space Considered. We got a lot of stuff coming up this year, but there's something really exciting going on right now. Launches down deep in the heart of Texas, actually deep south in Texas, right on the border with Mexico. SpaceX has been testing its astounding Starship rocket. This is a gigantic rocket, 160 feet tall. That's a 16-story building. Nobody is riding on this rocket. They're just testing it right now. An amazing rocket system that can launch into the sky and is designed to glide back down for a landing. It's a reusable rocket. When it's all assembled and built, it'll be as large as the Saturn V moon rocket. This is a monster. And the tests have been, well, a little exciting occasionally. The last two times they tried this, it went up all right. It glided back down all right. But when it tried to turn its nose back up and land, boom, much excitement. Now, they just tried it again 2 days ago. I'd like to have a look and let's see what happened. There was much rejoicing. This giant water, like a water tank flying into the sky. That thing's 30 feet across, folks. 160 feet tall, launching all the way up to 30,000 feet, flipping over, falling back down, and drum roll please, how do you think it's going to go? Is it going to stick the landing, or is it going to explode? It turns around, it comes back down, flames leaping from the rocket as it tries to slow itself down, and a little bit of a bounce, but she's sitting there. She landed. This gigantic rocket has managed to land. A gigantic success. And 8 minutes later, it blew up. It just blew up. This is very satisfying. There's nobody on this rocket, okay? But wow, that's pretty spectacular stuff. And you may be thinking this is really bad news. Well, it's not what they had in mind, but it's not necessarily bad news. First things first, they're building a big rocket here. SN10 is labeled there, and you can see it's actually just the top stage of the entire Starship system. When they get the bottom stage under that, which is the one in the middle, it's going to be taller than the Saturn V moon rocket. So this is a big thing they're testing. Of course, it's complicated, and the Saturn V did a lot of things, folks, but it never had to land. Okay, so this is really groundbreaking stuff. When we look at the pictures of the actual test, we can see the 3 engines that are installed on serial number 10, as it is known here, firing to slow the rocket down in the last moments before landing. A little bit of a fire did break out in one part of it when they're shutting down one of the engines. Maybe not quite right. We're not sure yet. And it sure did look good, at least at first. But now a couple things to notice. It had little stubby landing legs that it was supposed to be sitting on top of. That landing was rougher than they expected. It's sitting flat on the ground. It's on the concrete, not on the legs. It squished the landing legs. So it hit a little bit too hard. It sat there for 8 minutes, something like that, and then kablooey. Off she goes into a gigantic fireball. We don't know what caused it yet, but it was pretty spectacular. Anybody think this looks like the Hindenburg? It does, but fortunately, there's nobody on this, so it's just a technical thing that they need to look at. Now, as a space program vet myself, I used to work on the space shuttle. I want you to know it's not that surprising to have something explode after it's landed. It's not surprising. It's something you have to guard against, and that's been true through the space program all along. If you look at the picture you've seen there, in the upper left, you've got the little XB-37 space plane, robot space plane, the Air Force uses, and it's just landed. And you'll see the crew around is wearing hazmat suits and gas masks. And if you look at the bottom, you see an Apollo command module splash down the ocean. Well, the crew in the life raft is wearing gas masks. As a matter of fact, on that landing, the last Apollo landing, fumes leaked out of the rocket systems and almost incapacitated the crew. One of them passed out before he got his gas mask on. And then you see the picture of the space shuttle. Every time the space shuttle landed, you see that thing with the red circle? That's a big fan to blow away rocket fumes. The landing of a rocket, bringing it back, is very difficult and dangerous. So it might have been a surprise to some of you to see a problem after a landing. I just kind of nodded my head, say, yep, that's something you need to work on, boys. And don't worry, all the men and women at SpaceX are looking at it now. They'll get it figured out. And maybe someday in the not too distant future, we're going to see one of these monsters sitting on the moon or maybe on Mars. It's an exciting time to follow launches, so I promise you, I'm always going to be out to launch. Thanks a lot, Dave. Back to you.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. Wonderful work there, showing off what's going on down there. Although I did catch your reference to the Holy Grail movie, and you didn't leave me time to throw in.
We can't
and
get
then
anything past you.
Well, I was going to throw in, and then they ate Elon's minstrels, but I thought it might be inappropriate, so I'm not going to go there.
Well, today SpaceX was in the cave of Arg, but don't worry, they'll find the Grail. They just have to keep working.